Good morning, Run Squad. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the importance of warming up before your runs and what warm-ups are and what they're not, and also just kind of explain what they are for. So the purpose of warming up before any activity is to increase your heart rate a little bit, get your blood pumping to your muscles, and increase your core body temperature. And a lot of times you'll see people warming up before runs by doing static stretching, which is where you stretch and hold for several seconds and then move on to another body part, and then they'll start running. And while static stretching does have its place, it should typically be done at the end of your run and not beforehand. And the reason is, while your muscles are kind of cold and tense and tight, if you hold those dynamic stretches, you're setting yourself up for an injury. Dynamic movement is what we want in our warm-ups, and I take a kind of a 3-step progression through my warm-ups, and they'll range from 5 to 10 minutes depending on what my workout looks like for that day. So on easy runs, it might be closer to a 5-minute warm-up. Easy long runs, about the same, and then I'll use part of that first mile to really get into my groove. If I have a hard workout slated for that day or a race, that warm-up might look like more from 10 to 15 minutes with some jogging incorporated into that. But basically, the bigger the task at hand, the more you want to focus on that warm-up. So today I wanted to show you kind of a typical warm-up for me. I have an easy run today. If it was a longer run or a race or a workout, it might look a little bit different and be a little bit longer. What I start with in the mornings is a little bit of foam rolling, and nothing super intense, but because I am a little stiff in the morning, I will work through some foam rolling, starting with a lacrosse ball under my feet and working upwards to my hips and lower back, just to loosen things up, find any trigger points, get those out of my system so my full range of motion can be used throughout my run. The next thing we'll do is dynamic stretches. So instead of static holds, like I said, where you hold a stretch for 10 to 30 seconds, you really want to emphasize on dynamic movement. And this will, allow your muscles to lengthen a little bit. It will give you more mobility in your joints, but it's also bringing up your core body temperature and getting the blood to those muscles, which is going to have you perform so much better during your run. So a few examples of dynamic stretches that I love to do, and you can grab a chair or a wall or any object here. The first thing I love to start with are leg swings, and I'll usually do 10 to 20 reps of this on either side. So leg swings, you just hang on to something with one hand and you swing your leg back and forth, front and back. And again, 10 to 20 reps of this. And then also side to side. So you're working through various parts of your hip joint beforehand and getting blood to your legs. After that, I like to do hurdlers. So that gives really huge range of motion in your hips. And you're essentially just acting as if you are leaping over a hurdle. And again, 10 to 20 reps of this. I'll usually just do 10 forward and 10 back. And that really gets things moving beforehand. Another great way to warm up your hamstrings or hamstring scoops. So to do a hamstring scoop, place your heel on the ground, send your arms down as if you're scooping something up, step forward again, and repeat. And I do these walking, so I'll probably do about a minute back and forth in my hallway or in my gym. And then progressing onto walking lunges. So just taking a step forward, lunging down, and another, and lunging down. Again, I'll walk back and forth for probably a minute or so, and then moving into lateral lunges. So I probably do 45 seconds to a minute of these as well. And you'll notice, a lot of times in the morning, I'm super tight on the insides of my thighs, and that really does help get that moving. Once I feel like I've gotten some dynamic movement in, I will add, especially if I have a workout or a race, a little bit of plyometric movement. And again, this is nothing, it's not its own workout, it's not something I track, it just gets your nervous system going, it primes your brain for the work ahead, it gets your body really moving and your heart rate up so that that first mile out doesn't suck, or it doesn't suck as bad. So what I love to do is I will sometimes jump rope. I'll do 30 seconds of jump roping, just basic jump, 30-second intervals for a minute or two just to get my heart rate up. If you don't have a jump rope, you can just do some double leg hops. And then I do like to do some single leg hops as well. Running is a single leg sport, so I think incorporating single leg movements a lot is great. So I'll just hop on one foot, probably 15, 20 seconds at a time, rest for 10 seconds, hop on the other foot. And then if you have the space available to you, and you can do this, I guess, standing still too, skips are another great way to get your blood going and getting your feet primed for that explosive movement. So I'll do skips, straight leg and bent leg skips if I have room, or if I don't feel like I care what my neighbors think that day. So those are just some quick things that I do to warm up each morning. You know, if you have something else, there's a million ways you can create a great warm up, but that's the progression I use, starting with foam rolling, dynamic movement, and then just a few minutes of plyometrics before I head out for a run. If there's anything else that you all love to incorporate in your warm-ups, please drop them in the comments. If you have any questions, do that as well. I'll be happy to answer them. Have a great run today, guys.